这样啊，今天我们这边今天讲一下忏悔法。
Today we're going to talk about the practice of confession. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and the next 4 days after today, we all have classes, which all will be translated. Tomorrow we'll talk about the 5 preliminary practices, because I know lots of you are going to practice it, and some of you are currently practicing it. We are going to use Mipa Rinpoche's illumination on the path of liberation. So we're going to use that liturgy as the base of our text. Also, we're going to have some brave talks to people who join our Sangha, our group study, our study groups. But this is open for everyone to listen. And the main topic is on how we should face the modern world and our responsibilities as Buddhists in this modern world. That's Tuesday's topic. And on Wednesday, I'm going to talk about the 37 stanzas of Bodhisattva. Also, brief explanation in between. Thursday, I'm going to give you a Lojong teaching from Gundam Chopo. So some of the Buddhists who are currently practicing the Vajrasattva, I know lots of you who are coming just for this practice, and there are still lots of you who are coming to receive more teachings. Therefore, I want to then take this opportunity to teach as many classes as I can. So this is my plan. If there's no other things, we're going to take about 1 month in between, 1 month break from the classes, and then we'll resume our classes after a month. I see people over here nowadays. Recently, I noticed that I don't really see any of the masters over here. And give their permissions to people who never really been here before. How can you really ask people to take over the management positions? I think you're just running away from your responsibilities. Some of our Sangha members here are really tired. And all the responsibilities are pushed all to me, I myself, and many of our Dharma masters and other teachers and management people push their responsibilities. Maybe they all have some really great career to attend to during the 7 days, and that's why they push all the chores onto my shoulders. I see some of our managers, they would just give the permission or their working badge to people who never been here, all the new people, and would ask all the new people to work as managers. And I'm not really happy about this, because
这个法会啊，就或者这样的时候呢，自己是不是稍微有一点这个责任啊？就是我是这几天以来，当然明天开始就我们
Because I think this is really irresponsible.
就是所以说从早上7点从第一周开始，然后呢
Tomorrow, our Dharma assembly will start around 7 a.m.
这个12点
And then we'll take 1 hour break between 9 to 10, and then we'll resume again, and then 3 to 4 we'll have another session. 5 to 7 there's another session. So between 7 to 7, we only have 2 hours in between, and 1 hour, 2 hours for lunch, and then 1 hour in between in the morning and in the PM. That's our schedule.
对我们这边的所有的这个老法师也好，管家们也好，基本上全部都交给一些新来的人，或者就是对规矩不太懂的人，交给他们。这是我们现在这里很多老人家的一个行为。这几年以来，我也看得出来，包括我身边的这些老友们的话，经常是做一些比较累的事情呢，就交给一些新手的人，然后根本不想做这些方面。同样的，这个
You're not really thinking of the quality of it, rather you're really just running away from what you're supposed to do. In such a way, I think when you are trying to manage a Sangha with only theory but not conducting anything yourself, not really doing it on your own, this is not helpful. It's not going to build any experience for you nor benefit anyone else.
那些这个官家也不用这个心急如焚，我看这些官家和有些的话，
I see lots of the managers here, they are really running around, they're very tired, you are only on your own by yourself. But I see lots of people don't really know what to do, and they tend to act out of rudeness and anger. They would push people. I don't really see any fighting yet, but still the action are rather quite rude. Lots of lay practitioners don't have the developed or mature wisdom yet, and they don't really know how to then work around within the Sangha. Anyways, this is just this is my observation. I observed that how lots of our Dharma masters really run away from their responsibilities and duties. I know the lay practitioners are too excited, too enthusiastic, and I see some of those people are just too they just don't want to listen to any of the orders. So many different kinds of people over here. I can't say that everyone is devoted Buddhists who are here to attend this Dharma assembly, but in any kind of events, in any kind of environment, there are different types of people. So, in terms of the management of different groups, there are different types of people. There are people who are jaded practitioners and they don't really have any sense of responsibilities. They don't know how to manage and they just really want to push their duties away and they don't know what to do. They're too simple and too rude to everyone. And their only theories, the armchair managers, so to speak. So if you're the kind of armchair conductor, then it's it's really difficult to then manage the whole situation. I was really tired yesterday, so I didn't really want to talk too much about the management. But today, I really want to point it out because all the Dharma masters should then use should listen to what I want to point out, and I really suggest you of not pushing those responsibilities away to people who had never had any of this kind of experience of working inside or serving the Sangha. For a Sangha group, if you're experienced, you can then come into the Sangha and then serve people and then started guiding people, that's fine. But without any experience and you started to then bossing people around, I think that's really unreasonable. Anyhow, this is really just for people over here that has not much of it's not really necessarily meaningful for people outside. What I really don't like is that lots of our senior practitioners, experienced practitioners, so to speak, they are very experienced at pushing or getting rid of their duties. Anyhow, from my personal observation and experience is that to manage a Sangha is really not that simple. It's not that you can just stay here and eat and drink and sleep over here without working or serving the community. It's really not that simple. You can't just enjoy and without giving or without giving back. Without giving back, without serving the community back, I think you being here is really without any value. Lots of Mahayana practitioners, so-called Mahayana practitioners, they don't want to persist in serving the community. They don't want to voluntarily work for the Sangha. Especially, they would give up their duty when they're already experienced and without finding anyone to take over their job. It is good that I think it is better if the experienced practitioner could train the inexperienced ones, and then you can give up your post. During Pongso Rinpoche's time, we all work together, we all then strive for the same goal. That's what we used to do, but today it's definitely not the same as how we used to do. Nowadays, I guess it's just impermanent, and the people's mind and heart and behavior really changed throughout the time. So today, now I want to address the confession liturgy. I want to give you the oral transmission of the 35 Buddha's confession oral transmission. This is 35 Buddha's confession liturgy. This is oral transmission. It takes a few minutes.
Gulla Jumterlon Ton La Jumterlo Renjin Dala Jumterlo Jumame Bala Jumterlo Quarjan La Jumterlo Zambi Zambala Jumterlo Zambi La Jumterlo Chalala Jumterlo Jilila Jumterlo Warzala Jumterlo Nanda Jumterlo Zijin Taila Jumterlo Warla Jumterlo Nyan Maybe Warla Jumter Chemidiola Jumterlo Meto Warla Jumterlo Deon Shaba Zambu was the number Gumbrin Kimala Jumterlo Deon Shaba Pamo, the number Gumbrin Kimala Jumter Nur parla Jumterlo, Chambi parla Jumterlo, Samberjan, Ongala Jumterlo, Wambato Yamson, Yerwala Jumterlo, Shinder number Warla Jumterlo, Election the number Yerwala Jumter. number number shik bkhwarla chomterlo kene na ko bkhwarla chomterlo renchen pamme number nombala chomterlo de no sabata jumba on borzo bosan je ramboche pamme dan lara de jide ronger gerwala chomterlo de dala sobo chomjen jisten ji kandan 대정 sabata jumba on borzo bosan jip chomden de kanjerni jiden sojan jiba san jip chomden de damja dala gongso zur de kirkiwan dan kiwi domada damamam jiba 코라는 거를 견해 담저도 득밤 개velикam 기바던 기들 사람은 기발라 지스 예랑함 주된 적군을 겠는 적고름 적준지된 적군 조바담 적도 주바담 조발라 지스 예랑한 자만만 지바릉이 기바던 기들 사람은 기발라 지스 예랑함 먹게발레 먹게지 리지라면 더불어 롱알라 지바던 기들 사람은 기발라 지스 예랑 리지 주바건 거는 더 sem장 여러분 저감들을 기는 숨저 예덕지 예름 저감 이름 다고즈 제감 라도 제감 하제로모는 공부 못하는 결혼 다 로버는 좀버는 결혼 상김 정화는 미버는 결혼을 주바 강로 바대도 담지 상김 정도는 이시 결혼 견의 결혼 혼의 결혼 참인 결혼 겸으로서 대덕을 견은 돌아셔서 먼저로 머리로 란자장 돈정도는 길라서 정도는 되는 담저 달아 공수서로 더기한도 당 기회 동마다 남아만 집 고라는 거래게 잔도도 심바다나 돈을 견에서 세금 수좀 자기 저 강로 바다 더 그즈는 종교서 강로 바 너의 정바를 쇼비게서 강로바다 그 sem진 용서 문브로 기비게서 강로바다 너의 상점 적도 생기비게서 강로바다 대도고 놀라나미 바요 게서 강로바다 대도 담저 지도 디정dom네 라나맘지바다 고나맘지바 공매 공말로메 로마 와라나미 바요 도도 상저도 용서 홍오르교 저더런데 버선게 정도네 남제 용서 홍와다 저더마 좀버 선게 정도네 남제 용서 홍와 저더러다 주부 선제 정도네 남제 용서 홍오는 잡아대전 너기 저 용서 홍오르교 또 바담전은 소들자 손음 단절하는 지세요 선제 단절하는 거정소란 너기로나메 베이지짐 저도바 도브르게르지 먼저 자라 강도다르 지바던 강도네바도 되지요 용도 홍밤 더이 겸존자근네 달모제지 교슴 여우런 저고 마바 본보 손범도 지자와 조소 장주사와 강도냐지 또든 장 화부 sem진 걸라 반장 도제바 대도 근지 점mer도 좀 달라 장주사 대도라 온도 좀 리진노 남바섬 거 남바지도나 가이게나 먹게주보 소소죠 동만면이 따다 먹게주보 선면가 셈는 뭐 완전히 대바담지 잡으려 너 저절도 뭐 원가나 리도도 되지 이지정 대바다가 개와진죠 대덕담지 덕기 소소를 셔 좀 기존은 겸해장 들어 넘버도 본섬에 저런 게 저런 바로 좀 정도로 하던 저전 셔바다 지수 이런 그런 소라요 개와 정도 덕기 주소바 담저 덕기 샹저 호 단저정 전부고 这是那个刚才
That was the 37 Buddha confession liturgy. Next one is the Vajrasattva purification practice, a wish-fulfilling jewel composed by Khonso Rinpoche.
Lama dorje senhwala ichita pe kyapsum je lan semke na nam kamnim jowam tadak kun pande sala goyong sher linga ji zomba kan jangju lamdam mamjer ja langsum lapki bana am dandam jurun gyamzo we bagar da yodan dang ringdi hwardano dorje sem karsur dar ji bimdang jarji jani norje de longki jezo jejo je yi 고즈르 촉즈르 쳬르 땅이 이런 거라 남메럭서라 디마 도르제센 와콘지 담자 녀고네 도소냠도 점전남 디지지선 점버름조 도마메니 다데바라 냐 여기 노아남 쿨더 저터는 공도 뜨고선 따라 농주 접범 도르장 샤 진적 졸라 아지르장 모월는 맙지장 점비견적 즈브름 조 잠니도 셔거 우용 소로 다당 sem진 담지지 남성냠적 금다점 조동동 우저거 다다니도 저버름 조도 지르란디 비츠르기 또 지르고네 umbanzır 사동 범적 жив레나 사위 냠적 도버 게로 사마야 타르와 담자시나 림종 대금 림종도 유성 계속 경험 간 로버 돈도 호 근정도 지생화 근정도 지생화 공범ner도 도버쇼 홍 Kang Nar Kui Yanda Shara, Dajang Yero Chantok Tiki Gander Mana Punzo Harmber, Trashi Show, Jiban Dagan, Merdan Dani Pisi, Nirdan, Sip Jibdan Langan, Lujum Somi, Ricum Tang Sarle, Sharatar, Lova Sutum Jamaica, Triba, Gaver Kirju, Shulur Gupchu Kovden Lord, Davjibi, Nirdan Lago, the surgeon, the Tin Nyunsen Kurva, Yigchik Dong, some Samgyaptombi, Yigchikton, Samgyaptombi, Payantoba, Di Sambi Tom Tatum near Dunjabring Shima, Dea Jans, Kamu Gijan Kamsartiva, Titum Magobe, Genji Tilan Jobraj, Jimmy Tonsu, So, Laron, Churdi, Gindan, Chupchuk, Tahong, Stagji, so.
The next one is Mipa Rinpoche's sadhana of Vajrasattva.
Merkamjo Semkin Santi Judan Somjola Shanjavar, Jasm Jeranjan, Shanju Sem Keper, Samijan, Semja, Danger, the Honkanam Charge, Dedan Dana Mondrajan, Chugan, Nyamba, Nierto, Show, Dorsim, Draptapna. Semki de Sadmit, Rundaptana, Am Kakirtana, Yanir, Rangi, Dea, Chorji, Sanwa, Davim, Sandan, Jemsan, Jetram Sandan, Huishet, Bara, Lonki, Chirzo, Charlie, Choyo, Dorji, Tigerto, Yumbeter, Kalatin, Nimakarmo, Chotojan, Distom Number Roring. Yishi me Yishi Jarportan, Garrett, Ramjam, Maliban, and Reverdir, two way does not do. Honla Yikechik Vikur, Natas Namtak Devache, Dorji Sang on the Sadom Banner, Tisum Jara Tamchingo, what not Dorji Sang, Yikechik Bam Sanda Kunga to be Hun Sanjay Mambola Shah, Shiba, Dorjin Sang, Jankams, Nibram Joadon, Jara Namji Shinji Lobadan, Tabachimbolum, Nibram, Dam Gumbrashi Barngadan, Homtonga Mugdan Dambanji, Jerry Chingiba, Ji, Shumdo Kumbandi Balek Sonja. Bumchuk Chik Jodna Savi Namsu, Savi Tamsing Yambagan. Jiverin Geroji, Shagdur Chabo, Sumdri, Gilly, Somba Dante, Dibali, Dorji, Sanquim, Sansam, Lanchitsam, Jokir Nandana, Chungar Tabachi, Tachimbo, Chungar Tachimbo, Kachi Mut of Toberan Guru, Jison Badan, Yedem Gilha, Demchotan, Kiadordan, Sandi, Tinkor, Huar Hiraka, Parva, Dorji, Lasso, Dorji, Sanwan, Dani Yembe, Dorji, Sanwan, Nigir Mundo, Damsing, Yamcham, Namjim Danda. Nene Driba Tamjit, Jean Shokji, Molum Tape, Tarta, Daniel Harning, Jamba Zamji, Yamchak, Drujon, Shejam Dorna, Chokchi Tirsimdi, and Yetamcha, Horton, Dorjis and Wing on the Dijan, Sanhing, Ring Tamchi, Yambo, Yiki, Bandan, the Larning, the Payo, some Yimiki Broxon, so Tunter, Muslim Jordan, Namjo, the Gondozambo, Lamin Jordan, Ganam, the Jejan, Chinosan, Chobar, Yamsum, Chota, Omaha. Banzer Sadon Zahon Vam Zahon Surata Stum Hon Durji Senwa Senwa Jil Durji Division of Shabakan Durji Tambo Kundozan Chomter Chona Durji Lago Jiba Tara Larnago Sranganda the Lion Zonji Jimmy Larker Lang La Gavan the Imir Durji Senwan Jin Roshi Yamali Bati Salan Cooper Shojiso Sipchetan Durji Senwa Senwachi Durji Yerbo Deachi Tragic and Tragic Tunjup Samban Dripper Show Jibagan Rapsek Chokshir Daji Bitse Trigla Jujit Gunji Retrota Mapum Mashuk Durji Priba Di Lam de Lin Rova Tamchida Uyung Chimbom Chokung Gartun Tamba Tobra Kirchig Sura Mangalam Dazatome Tine Tartevan Cherwanga Duktung Gamji Hamchuk Jiji Yangan Tolo Shot Jimmy Tarzan Sambim Chuktur Jew.
Today, the topic is on confession, because from tomorrow onwards, we're going to then chant the liturgy. Of course, it is that if you have the interest and intention then I really encourage you to chant 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra. For people who are really diligent, you will be able to finish it within 1 week. You should be able to finish that. Lots of people are very good and proficient in terms of chanting this. They can finish about 70 to 80,000 times. If you can do that, at least within a month, or to the least 3 months to finish 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra. It generates great merits, and I will then explain a little later as well. Every year I do teach very similar topics, but I think it is quite essential because it gives you an opportunity to then understand the importance of repent. And for those of you who know it already, then at least you can refresh your memory. For all of our audience who are present in our shrine hall, I think maybe you won't be able to then sit into the shrine hall altogether because we really just have very limited space. But at least wherever you live, you can stay there, and then you can then chant all the way from the beginning, the liturgy from the beginning. But I would encourage you to participate from the very beginning. Do not miss any of the sadhana chanting. You're not here to have a tourist group, or you're not with a tourist group. You're not taking a tour over here. You should know why you're here. Therefore, I really encourage you to be diligent and to practice really one-pointedly. We are trying our best to provide you all the service, all the material needs that you need. We would chant 4 hours in the AM and 4 hours in the PM, and it should really be enough of time, and you have about 1 or 2 hours in between to take rest. So if you don't have any other things that distract you, I really encourage you to then participate in practice in this confession liturgy. Because all of us have lots of misdeeds that we conducted before, whether you can remember or not, the killing and stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying, all of those. Maybe you violated Pratimoksha vow, maybe you violated Bodhisattva vow, maybe you violated Vajrayana vow, all the main branch vow and small branch vows. The root vows or the branched vows, maybe you violated lots of them. If you don't repent on time, then they will become the seeds that will ripen later on, that will then become a cause of your suffering later on. So now we've already encountered this wonderful liturgy where we can practice, repent, and then we can confess all of our past misdeeds. Why don't we do that? We have this opportunity to purify ourselves. I think it can give me some massage. Each of us, without talking about bodhisattvas or Buddhas whom have not confessed all of their past misdeeds yet. When we read all the biography, the extensive biography of the Buddha, where he was slandered by others, he had a headache, where he ate the oats which was supposed to feed the horses. All of those were all kind of the maturation of his past misdeeds as well. Nagarjuna, for example, at the time of his death, only because he killed an insect at the neck, and because of that he was killed by others. He was decapitated by others. Master Tsibo, at the time of death, he manifested the kind of death where he was pulled by 5 horses to different directions. And another master who was also decapitated, as well as many different masters who had made great contributions in the history. And they should have already accomplished the cities where they are, where they can then control all the 4 elements. But because of their past misdeeds that they conducted, they had to suffer as such as well during their lifetimes. So let's look at us, the misdeeds that we conducted in our previous lives, as well as the misdeeds that we conducted in the first half of our own lives. If we don't have the opportunity or couldn't really repent and confess all of them, purify all of them, then during the time of death, which could come really swiftly, and because it's so impermanent, you may have some realization, you may have some kind of insights, but how can our insights and realizations surpass all of the previous masters that I've mentioned? And if they've suffered from such suffering of all the misdeeds that they conducted before, so we really need to know the importance of confession. In the West, maybe because of their history, because their culture, everyone has a sense of guilt. They feel they're very sinful. And they are quite interested in the practices of confession. And lots of people I know, they have they have great faith towards confession as well. They want to, they make pledge of chanting 100 million of Vajrasattva mantra, as well as 10,000 of 100-syllable mantra. Gyalwang Nyungu's disciples, usually he would require his disciples to chant 200,000 to 300,000, at least, to 1 million or 10 million times of 100-syllable mantra. Without being able to accomplish this, he do not allow his disciples to chant for others. Pansok Rinpoche also required us to practice and pledge to chant 100 million times of Vajrasattva vow. I think 100 million is probably too much for you. You might be a little fearful, but that at least you should be able to finish 400,000. I'm not sure about all of you here, but a few days ago I posted on my Weibo saying that whomsoever is willing to finish chanting 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra, then you can click like, then I'll know that you want to do that, and we can then dedicate Mary together. I see that there are 450,000 readings, clicks, but only out of that number, there are only about 6,000-ish people clicked like, because I think lots of people do not dare to make such a pledge. But even 6,200 people pledge to do so, there are then in total would be 20 billion times of Vajrasattva mantra. Of course, maybe they'll click today or tomorrow, but by now it seems that there are lots of people reading, but not many people clicking. I originally was thinking that whomsoever click to read my Weibo should then make the pledge, but I guess they don't really want to do that. Maybe lots of us are too caught up in the chores in our daily life and don't have enough time and don't attach great importance to the Dharma practices that we really should engage ourselves in. So I really hope that from tomorrow onwards, other than some very rare and really busy volunteers, the rest of you should really finish chanting the 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra, because the point of you to come here is not to take a tour, is not to then visit your guru or other gurus or buying things, buying souvenirs. It's not that. You're really here to then chant the mantra, to practice diligently. That's the point of you to come here. As Potso Rinpoche said in the wish-fulfilling jewel, the Vajrasattva practice, he said that either you can visualize the Vajrasattva in front of you, visualize him on top of the moon and sun disk, and Vajrasattva is sitting on it. He is white colored, and he has one face, two arms, holding bell and Vajra, sitting in the Sambhogakaya and sitting in the cross-legged posture in the Sambhogakaya clothing. And then you start to practice with the four powers. I think 50 to maybe 90% of people know what the four powers are. In fact, I think the four powers are the most important part, which was taught in a sutra of the Sutra of Four Dharmas. Nagarjuna and Shantarakshita, as well as Shantideva, many of the masters, including Atisha, they placed great importance on that sutra. Tsongkhapa, as well as Longchenpa, they quoted from this sutra of four dharmas, where it talks about the four powers. These four powers are extremely important because upon relying these four powers, you can then purify all the misdeeds that you conducted before. Nowadays, in fact, this kind of repent or purification is quite important, because without purifying all the guilt that you carry within yourself because of the misconduct, then you won't be able to carry on with your life. All the misdeeds that you conducted are kind of like the black poison You carry that black poison all the time, and slowly that will become the cancer of the mind, and eventually that will manifest as the cancer of the body or illness of the body. So that is why purification and confession is so important. From a psychological point of view, this kind of confession is really beneficial to our mental and physical health. During our practice, we should then have the power of support. During your confession, you either visualize Shakyamuni Buddha in front of your eyes and then practice, or you can visualize Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva is the manifestation of the Buddha of the three times. There was a text that's translated by Amgavajra. It talks about the 5 secrets of Vajrasattva. In fact, he is the manifestation of Vairocana, Akshobhya, Ranasambhava, Amitabha, and Amoghasiddhi, the 5 Buddhas. Maybe he appears as this one Buddha. In fact, he is the body of the Buddhas of 10 directions, or the Buddha or the 5 wisdom Buddhas. In many texts, it describes that Vajrasattva is Gyuhargaba, is in fact no other than all the Buddhas and Mahakala and Vajrakilaya, all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So whenever you want to receive any kind of empowerments, as Gyuhargarbha empowerment or the Kalachakra empowerment, back in 1990, I then went to India, and I really wanted to receive the empowerment of Gyuhargarbha, and yesterday I received the text of it. I rediscovered the text of it. If you have not received the Gyuhargarbha empowerment or Kalachakra empowerment, that's okay, because Vajrasattva is the main deity of all the mandalas and all the deities. And we should then rely on the power of Vajrasattva. That's the power of support. This kind of confession, usually we should make a confession to someone. Otherwise, if you only talk about, I want to make a confession, but you don't really make confession to someone or to any kind of object, then you can't really fully confess. It is the best to confess to Vajrasattva. Of course, it's good to confess to your guru and other people, but the best is really to Vajrasattva. According to lots of sutras and shastra, and as well as tantras, it says that Vajrasattva made the aspiration, saying that whomsoever hears my name and supplicate to me, may they then purify all of their misdeeds from the past. If they cannot purify their misdeeds, then I vow not to enter Buddhahood. And he already became the Buddha, therefore all of his words are definitely true. So the power of Vajrasattva is very different than any other deities, any Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. According to some sutras and shastras, some patients with good merits, they can then find good doctors and good medicines. But some patients with similarly, there are people who make mistakes, who then conduct misdeeds, but they find the methods and the support to confess all the misdeeds. There's a kind of It is said that there are two kinds of fools. So one is that whomsoever makes wrong action or act with wrong actions, and the second one is the people who, after conducting such misdeeds, and do not confess. Tomorrow we're going to practice based on Amipa Rinpoche's sadhana, that is Yabuyum sadhana with the Vajrasattva. For those of you who are Vajrayana practitioners or practitioners who do not have any deluded view of the image in union, then you can practice in such a way. Or for those of you who are Sutrayana practitioners and would rather practice Do you have malas now? Good. So for those ones who are Sutrayana capacities, then you can visualize Vajrasattva only without the Vajrasattva in union pictures.
Okay.
So this is the power of support. Simply put, Vajrasattva is in front of you, and then visualize that you are then confessing in front of Vajrasattva wholeheartedly. The second power is the power of regret. You have great regret for all the misdeeds that you conducted in previous lives as well before that you can remember or not remember. This kind of regret is really important because it means that you recognize that you've done something wrong. There are people who really don't care about the misdeeds that they've done before. For those kind of people, then they can never progress. According to Changme Rinpoche, he said that without a regret, then you cannot confess completely. You have to confess and with such a regret that you've taken poison. With such kind of a regret, then whatever kind of misdeeds you've done before, then you'll be able to then confess purely. In the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, there is a story talking about Ajita. Ajita fornicated with his mother, and then he generated a great jealousy towards his father, so he conducted a patricide. And then he found out that his mother also had affair with other people. So out of jealousy, he killed his mother. So matricide, that's a second heinous crimes that he conducted out of the 5. And then he saw an arhat. Out of anger, he killed the arhat, which is the third of the heinous crimes. After conducting 3 out of the 5 heinous crimes or misdeeds, he wanted to take refuge and study the Dharma, but none of those monastic want to take him or give him a refuge vow. And out of anger, he then burnt down the monastery. He went to Vaishali, the city of Vaishali. Not sure, and over there he wanted to be ordained. Not sure if he was later on ordained or not, but the Buddha then was very inclusive, and with the teaching of the Buddha, Ajita then gave vows to Anuttalaksamyasambuddhi, to the mind of giving rise to Anuttalaksamyasambuddhi. So you can see that the Buddha is really inclusive, and he did not then look down upon him because of all the great misdeeds that he've done before. So we should really not belittling ourselves, because look at Ajita. He conducted 3 heinous crimes and burned down the housing of the sanghas and of the monastics, but still he had the opportunity to then recognize that he conducted misdeeds and then regretted. Therefore, we should have faith to ourselves as well. There are the misdeeds that we've done before that we can remember, and some of those, in fact, lots of them, we cannot remember anymore. But we should try our best to remember, to then visualize all of those and generate a sense of regret towards all the misdeeds that we've conducted. So that's the second of the 4 powers. That's the power of regret. And then the third one is the power of resolution. What does that mean? Is for the ones who conducted misdeeds or made mistakes before, then you should resolve never commit them again, even at the cost of our lives. Of course, it's very difficult for our mundane beings. We sometimes could then make such resolve, just as alcoholics, they would first think that I would never touch alcohol again, but maybe after a little while, the conditions then mature in such a way that he would drink again. Anyhow, you should then try your best to give rise to such resolve. And with such kind of mind, then all of the misdeeds that you've conducted, all the defilements that you have can be purified, just like how the sun will eventually come out of the dark clouds. Even if you can't generate that much of resolve, but at least you should chant Vajrasattva mantra one-pointedly. The fourth one is the power of action as antidote. You can use the kind of antidote such as visualizing Amrita dropping from Vajrasattva's body into you, and this is one method. Another method is chanting Vajrasattva mantra. I think Amoghavajra translated the Vajrasattva mantra
我们说罗萨杜萨玛呀，
and
基本上是这样的。
100 syllabus
大藏
mantra
经
into
当中是应
Chinese
该
in
是
a
有
different way.
的，
This
这个不空
it
翻译
sounds a
的
bit
话呢，应该
different.
是大藏经当中是有的。但是这个前
The
面的这
translation
些大德们呢，
is
就是对这
included
个
in
咒
the
语的
Tibetan
这种
Tripitaka.
功德啊，就是在瞻仰方面的话呢，确
It
实
also
也
talks
是
about different
不
merits
同的。
of
所以
this
我们呢，
this
就是应
mantra.
该有了这样的这种这个忏悔方法的时
So
候呢，
once
就是
we
应该
have
我
all
们
the
就是
4
自己
kinds
呢，
of
就是最
powers
好的
of
这个方式来
confession,
就是
of
忏悔。
repent,
而且
then
忏悔
we
的
should
方
try
法
our
呢，上师
best
如意宝就
to
是在世的
purify
时
all
候
of
呢，
our
就是
misdeeds
特
from
别
the
的就
past.
是告诉
Ponce
我们，就是尤
Rinpoche
其是
especially
他在
told
年宝
us
谱里
that
面去的这个伏藏啊，就是
especially
金刚萨埵
the
的说法
terma
呢，
that he
对汉地
reviewed,
为主的
that
很多的
is
众
the
生
wish
是非常
fulfilling
有缘
jewel,
的。当时
the
是上师
Vajrasattva
如意宝好像
practice
94年还是
is
什么，就
of
是那个去
great
了这个金
benefits
刚萨埵
to
的修法以
people
后呢，
of
那么
mainland.
就是这个弘
In
扬的这个非常
1994,
这
he
个广
reviewed,
大。
or
就是如今
1997,
是
he
在
reviewed
各个地
this
方的话呢，就是有
terma,
特别的这个
and
大家念修金刚萨埵的
this
人呢，就是特别
practice
特别多
was
的。
later
所以呢，
on
我们这次也是
propagated
不仅仅是
quite
我们这个纳入
quite
内部的，
greatly.
希望你们有
People
条
from
件的话
different
呢，
places for
那
the
从明
world
天开始，
to
哪怕是
practice
3
this
个道友、4
sadhana.
个道友的话呢，
So
积聚在
from
这个
tomorrow
我们的这
onwards,
个各自
even
不
if you
同的
have
道场
1,
当
2,
中啊，
3
就是
people
大家把
who
这
can
个金刚
practice
萨
it
埵啊，就是这
together
些
with
佛
you,
像呢，就
then you
是
should
放
place
上，然后呢，
the
就是就放一
image
些
of
什么花
Vajrasattva
啊，
in
就
front
是
of
这样
you,
的，
and
这
then
个做
offer
简
some
单的供养。
flowers,
然
water,
后
and
呢，
some
就是
simple
大家一
offering,
起来这
and
个
then
修。
all of
如果
you
有
should
每天
gather
有这个
together
时间
and
是当然是
then
最好的。
practice and
如果实在
chant
是没有这个时
Vajrasattva
间的
mantra
话呢，
together.
那就是
It
一
is the
天一
best
做的话，那
that
就是
you
这个
can
功德也
practice
是
4
不可思议。
sessions
有
a
些需要
day
上班的，这样
and
的话呢，
practice
那
for
早
7
上这
days.
个包括
But
不限祈愿品呐，
I
前面的
understand
念
lots of
诵
you
的
have
一
to go
起
to
就
work
念
and
一
have
种，
other
或
chores
者
to
呢就
do.
是下午
Then
念
at
一种
least
的话
you
呢，
should
那这7
practice
天当
1
中就是对
session
这么多的
a
僧众呢，
day
就是
for
一起
7
这个
days.
功德回向。这种功
Because
德的话，那就是
if
真
even
的
if you can
是这
practice
个可
1
以说
session,
是
then
不可思议。
your
所以
merit
我们这
is
个金
then
刚萨埵的话，那就是的确是我们
emerged
很多
with
都
all
是
the
非常有
merits
信心，而
of
且金刚
all
萨
the
埵
Sangha
呢
member who
念
are
也是比较
practicing
方便
together
的。像那
over
个
here as
慈密
well,
法
and
会
the
的这
merit
个
is
什么那
then
个咒语的话，
multiplied
那
for
就是就半天的字念不了，
innumerable
一遍就
times.
是玛那般美吽德曼嘎伊海呀格罗瓦拉格尔格勒达格呢玛哈对吧？阿曼对吧？真的轰轰给不是说我的念错了。
Did I make a mistake of chanting that mantra? My point is that some mantras are much longer.
所以那个就是像那个什么慈密法会的咒语呢也比较难念。然后那个
Magnetizing
不像
mantra
英国的
is
那个就是
also
那个
difficult,
长的那个
as
咒语的
well
话呢，
as
我
the
到
long
目前为止还
mantra
不会背，
of
就是
a cloud
每次看到
offering
那
of
个就是长
Samana
长的话呢
Bhadra.
就是有点头痛，
I
就不太会
cannot
念啊，
memorize
这样
it.
就所以
Still,
也不太好念。然后
It's
我们
not
这
easy
个
to chant.
基勒法会的这个基勒法会的咒语跟那个金刚萨埵的咒语呢，特别好念，而且呢我
Dharma
们也是
Assembly,
很其他也是
the
需要，比如说
Amitabha's
这个
mantra
慈
as
密
well
法会
as the
里面
Vajrasattva
护法
mantra
尼
is
僧啊，
really
这些
easy.
很重要的。然后这个普贤
It's
行功也
important
是一
to
样的，就是念
chant
这个心愿品呐，什么这个地藏王菩萨
during
的
the
名号啊，
Samana
这些也
Bhadra
是
Dharma
很重
Assembly
要
as
的。
well
但
as
是
the
我个人呢，
Kashili-Garba
就是更
Dharma
有这个信
Assembly
心的
and
什么
the
呢？就是这
Magnetizing
个
Dharma
金刚萨埵
Assembly.
这
They're
个咒
very
语，因为金刚
beneficial
萨埵
towards
呢，
different
就是这
aspects.
个是自己这
But
个还是业力的一种。虽然
Vajrasattva
我
Dharma
从小
Assembly
都
is
是
the
信仰
one
佛
that
教，
I
也没有
really
杀过什么这个
enjoy
杀生啊，
participating.
就这些
I
非常
really
严重的这些
attach
罪
great
业的
attention
虽然基
to
本上从小都
participate
是在佛
because
教家
I
庭当中的话，
realized
没有
that
这
I
么
have
造作过，但是
conducted
呢，
lots of
还是只
misdeeds.
从理
Although
性
I
当中
grew
来
up
讲的
in
话
a
呢，罪
Buddhist
应该是非
family
常
where
深
I
重
was
的。
taught
所以每
karma
次就
in,
是
at a
忏
very
悔的
young
话呢，
age, so
就很
I
有
don't
很有
remember
兴趣。不过
in
我们
this
每次忏
lifetime
悔
I've
的时候呢，
conducted
我
that
们这个发
much
悔的话呢，就是
misdeeds,
金刚
but
相
in
目
the
口之争不在
beginningless
所以
samsara I
我
must
是每
have
年都是
then
这个
conducted
就
lots of
基本上
misdeeds
是
before.
念不
Therefore,
完的。
I
我的昨
really
天
one
就是我自
pointedly one-pointedly then practice the Vajrasattva mantra. Yesterday I didn't click my own Weibo because I haven't really made the resolve to finish 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra. If I don't have anything else, of course I would do that, but because nowadays I'm really busy. I was thinking that maybe I'll chant first and then I'll click like or halfway through. I've been hesitating. Maybe after a day or two, after I feel that I'm more in control of my time and I'm more certain that I can finish it, then I will click a like on my own post as well. In Doma Monastery, there's a Dicha, Toku Dicha. He's not of great health, but he often say that I have too much karmic debt, therefore I have to confess diligently. Otherwise, maybe during the next Dharma assembly, I won't be alive, and then I will then enter hell realm with all the misdeeds and all the all the karmic debt that I carry. So even if the great masters, they would attach great importance in chanting Vajrasattva mantra, don't even mention about us. So we should chant one-pointedly, and then we will dedicate merit all together with all the Sangha, with all the monastics and lay practitioners, and then we can accumulate great merit together and make great benefits to one another. And our life is really meaningful, because you never know whether you can live till next year's Vajrasattva Dharma Assembly. Semi Rinpoche, he quoted from Tantra, he said that even if you can chant 100,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra one-pointedly, then your root faults can be purified. But Pansok Rinpoche then said that because nowadays we're in this degenerated age, therefore we have to increase the number of chanting by 4 times. Therefore, we have to chant 400,000 times. If you can then purify all the root Samaya vows by chanting 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra, then don't even mention about the Pratimoksha vow or the Bodhisattva vows that you may have violated. Without the practice and without the teaching of the sadhana, it will be very difficult. So we should definitely follow this sadhana and practice. Purification and this kind of confession liturgy is very important. I really, really encourage you to practice one-pointedly. Not only our audience who are present over here, but everyone who's listening online, who's not present here, because you never know when impermanence would occur and death would approach. And at that time, are you really confident that you are completely pure from all your defilements? So it's quite important. This practice is really, really important. Another thing I would like to address is that the 35 Buddha confession liturgy is also very important for people in mainland, in Tibet, Plateau. Many practitioners attach great importance to this particular liturgy. King Totem Ditsen, in his daily practice, in fact, this liturgy is included in his daily practice. Many diligent practitioners, they would practice once or 3 times a day. They would chant it once or 3 times a day. I was reading into Tengyur. Out of Tengyur, there was a commentary of 35 Buddha's confession liturgy that's composed by Nagarjuna with his commentary, where he talks about the different mudras of the Buddha and the different objects that all the Buddha holds in their hands, and the meanings and symbol behind all of those. The 37 Buddhas are the descriptions of the pictures that are circulated nowadays are a little bit different, but I didn't have time to then correspond one to another at that time, there's a Siddhartha Jali Nangir. He also composed a commentary on the 35 Buddha Confession Liturgy, where he talked quite a bit about
什么那个35步的这种每一个步呢，就是参会参进什么，就是让亲近什么样的这个罪业。
How by confess to each Buddha you can then confess different defilements. At that time, I really wanted to translate those two from Tibetan language into Chinese language, so that disciples from different areas and different countries, they can then study and learn this liturgy. Because many people attach such great attention towards confession liturgy and sadhana. Ponzo Rinpoche requests us to be able to sing the Vajrasattva's Doha. Therefore, I call upon you as well to then study this as well. It is translated into Chinese by, again, Amoghavajra. Amoghavajra's translation is very similar to the Tibetan text. I made a comparison to the two versions. So I really hope that you can finish 400,000 times. 400,000 times of Vajrasattva mantra. There are people who said that I'm already really indebted with many mantras. I've made a vow to then chant 100 syllables mantra and other different mantras. So I think it could be true, and you can then make a pledge depending on your own situation, because this kind of opportunity is really rare. Every year we only have such an opportunity. Last year, I finished 400,000. Maybe 3 months is still a bit too short for you, but 1 year making such a pledge is really not that difficult. We should follow the steps of our masters and then practice diligently. Practice it in your action, and that would make your life meaningful. Whatever practice you do, you should purify your own mind stream. According to the previous masters, they said that once you finish chanting once you finish purifying all your defilement, then whatever you do, whatever you say is trustworthy and without obstacles. Why can't we help great number of sentient beings? It is because we have lots of obstacles, and if we have so much obstacles, then it will be difficult for us to help sentient beings. And it would be difficult for ourselves to practice, to engage in practice such as generation stage, completion stage, and practice Guru Yoga and so on. It will be very difficult for you as well. So it's very important to purify your defilement and confess all your misdeeds. So I really, really encourage you to then have a good preparation and a mentality to practice. I'm quite happy that the majority of you are all prepared with your mala and very prepared for the Dharma Assembly starting from tomorrow. I don't really care too much about whether you use it in your daily life before, but at least you're here, you're participating in this Dharma assembly, then you should practice, you should use your mala and then chant your mantra. If you don't have other chores, and do not distract yourself from other things. It's very easy to get distracted nowadays, but now we have such a rare opportunity, then you should dedicate yourself in this practice that is placed of great importance by all previous masters. This practice is so precious and so meaningful, and without practicing it, without doing that, then it's such a pity for you to be here. Originally, I wanted to teach a bit about the sadhana, but I think what I've said today is good enough. From tomorrow onwards, I'm going to teach on the preliminary practices. Some of them have 5, and some of the liturgies has 4. Anyhow, I think lots of you who have never studied it should participate in listening, and some of you who've studied it, then it's okay whether you listen to it or not. And then I'm going to give teaching and or transmissions in the next few days, including 37 practices of Bodhisattva. Also, I'm going to give the refuge vow today. You don't have to move. For those of you who took refuge vow already, even if you took a refuge vow from other gurus and so on, it's fine. You don't have to change it. But I know lots of people who never took refuge vow before. Please sit down. Do not move around. I'm not going to talk too much about refuge vow, because tomorrow I'm going to teach on the illumination on the path of liberation, and the teachings of what taking refuge means is included in the words of my perfect teacher and many other texts. You should read into it. But for those of you who are taking refuge vow for the first time, you should know that after taking refuge vow, you should know that you are a Buddhist. Lots of tradition are very good, because after taking such vow, after taking such ritual, then you would recognize and position yourself as a Buddhist, which is extremely important. In Tibet, I think many people would naturally recognize themselves as a Buddhist, but they never really they could never remember the time that they took refuge, because they feel that they're born as a Buddhist. So you're taking the refuge. You're taking refuge from the Buddha, who is the enlightened one, who is the supreme teacher of the world. You're not taking refuge from an idol, from a god. In fact, we are taking refuge in Buddha, who is awakened one, who is awakened, who had attained the supreme awakening. That is the Buddha. That is taking refuge of the taking refuge from the Buddha, and taking refuge from the Dharma. The correct Dharma, the teaching, and the 6 dharmas, that's according to Uttara Tantra Shastra. So that's taking refuge from the Dharma. And taking refuge from Sangha, it's either you can take refuge from the Sangha, such as Manju Shri, who has already attained eradication of affliction, or taking refuge of the Sangha who are companions, such as the Sangha group that have already taken refuge vows.
还有呢，这样的三宝呢，就是依靠是谁呢？就是依靠这个上师而得到的，所以上师呢，就是称之为是第四宝。
Who are these? And all these three jewels, you can take refuge from them. From whom? From the Guru, which could be called the fourth jewel. So according to the resting mind at ease, for people who are here or who are present or who are online, if you want to take refuge vow here, then you can visualize. For those of you who want to take refuge again, then you don't have to worry about having any faults of taking refuge again. Rather, the merit will increase. So you don't have to worry if you want to take refuge vow again. There are three types, three levels of taking refuge. The first level is I want to take a refuge vow because I want to gain merits for myself and enjoy more happiness in my current life. And the second level of taking refuge vow is that I want to attain arhathood, where I want to attain self-liberation, where I don't have to suffer anymore in this liberation. That's the second level of, or medium level of taking refuge. And the highest level or third level is taking refuge vow for the benefit of sentient beings, to liberate all sentient beings. This is the third level. So there are people who take refuge vow because they don't want to get ill anymore, and they heard from somewhere saying that once you take refuge vow, then I want to take a refuge vow. And there are people who take refuge vow only because they can get this certificate of taking refuge vow, and then whenever they go to monasteries in China, in different places of interest, then they don't have to buy tickets anymore, and that's their intention. I once went to a monastery, and I asked this person beside me, saying that, are you a Buddhist? And he said, no, I'm not. I asked that, well, if you're not a Buddhist, why do you have this certificate? He said that, well, because I really like the vegetarian restaurant that's inside this monastery. So in order of not paying the entrance ticket, I then get this refuge certificate. This is really not taking refuge vow for the right purpose. I know there are people who take the refuge vow for the right purpose. Of course, everyone's different of their intentions as well as capacities. Either you want to take refuge vow of the 3 jewels or the 4 jewels, then I really hope that your intention is to benefit all sentient beings. You're taking the refuge vow for all sentient beings. So let's all chant together with me for 3 times.
Lama la tia sam cho. Sangye la tia sam cho. Chula tia sam cho. Gendan la tia sam cho. Lama la tia sam cho. Sangye la tia sam cho. Chula tia sam cho. Gendan la tia sam cho. Oh yeah.
Once you hear the click, you already received the vow of refuge. So we'll stop here today.